And here we are. Hello everyone on YouTube, this is Northern Firefighter again, and I say, Andaranati-san, welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. I apologize for last time with the crash and stuff, I hopefully have done enough with the settings so that everything is not fine. So that everything is now fine, not fine, now fine. Hopefully it will continue on and we can play a bit longer and everything will be fine. So, grab your gear, put on your armor and your helmet and let's go. Basically what we're gonna do now is we are gonna chat around a bit inside our camp with our dear companions that have gathered up so far. And also what we're gonna do is do an enchantment with Sandal. We do have a few more quests right now, but these are premium contents. Basically we have Soldier's Pass, where travel to Soldier's Pass. Journey to Soldier's Pass, where troubled merchant awaits the deal may just too good to be true. This is about a new companion, basically, we will find later on. And we have Soldier's Peak. The last time you traveled to the open road, you caught a glimpse of a merchant in the distance. He appears to be following you. If you set up camp, he might be able to catch up to you. And that is actually the guy over here. His name is Levi Dryden. As for the quest with the premium ones, I won't do them right now. For now, I will head a bit more into the Ferelden and Redcliffe. I will head to Redcliffe and do that quest first. Then I might do a quest in between that. Or I head to the Circle first, which is pretty much straight after that. And then I might do a quest after that, because I will probably gain my first specialization that I want back then. And then we shall basically see. There are a lot of other things I want to do as well, but you have to kind of do it at a certain pace. I need to like do a proper setting between the DLCs and the story mode. First we are gonna let's chat a bit with Arfspawn and see what he has to say, if anything does happen.
Oh, why you little...
What? What? What?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
It was just a warning. Could have taken a hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
Yeah, so... This is how Arfspawn works. He is a dog and he will be a dog. And he will sometimes see some funny things happening. Talk to him again.
I once heard a really old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
I'd never feed you another human being. Alistair, stop harassing our dog!
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Just be quiet, Alistair. You're not exactly helping. Let's talk to him some more.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Okay, what do I want to say now without Ankia? Can't be stinking than what normally goes in. Oh no, no, I am not saying that, no siree. I think he thinks you need more meat on your bones.
I think I have enough meat where it counts, and I certainly don't need it in my pack. The dirty mongrel can have this back, there. And tell him not to do it again.
It was a gift. You can't throw it away like that.
I just did. I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Hey! That's not nice. I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
Yeah, that is not... Let's see Arfspawn again.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Yeah, that is the weirdest ones. Basically, they are having a staring contest. I mean, like, what? Oh well, it's fun anyway, especially if you stand out. Basically, they are showing each other respect. I mean, yeah, that's cool and all, but still. Trying to find your way through the earth, are we? It's going to take some time, you know. Well, good luck with that then. Ah, let's pet him. So, as you unlock more and more of the different characters, you will get more interactions, and I love the interaction that you can get with Arfspawn between different characters, because you will basically follow his true nature wherever you go. And let's head to Sandal and see what he says for now, what his quest is about. Here we go.
Good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick, at your service once again. I saw your camp and thought to myself, what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Yeah, that is actually sounding good. What are you selling exactly?
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No cheap trinkets here. And my boy Sandal happens to be a bit of a hand with enchantments. Oh, yes. Sadly, it also makes us a target for bandits and the like. If there were spare hands to hire as guards, I would have done so long ago.
Have you been following us?
I can see why you might be suspicious, being a Grey Warden and all. Were I in your shoes, I would feel the same way. Trust me when I say that my encountering you here was serendipity and nothing more. I travel a lot, so I'm bound to meet everyone on the road eventually. If you prefer, I'll take my boy and be on my way. But regretfully, you're the safest spot on this road, without a doubt.
Well, I'll be darned. Well, feel free to stay. Just mind yourselves.
Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
So, let's see.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
So that means, basically savant means that he is really decent with enchantments. Sandal is such a lovely boy, but believe me, you can find him in some scary situations sometimes, and he just walks out of them like nothing with a big smile on his face. You will see eventually what I'm talking about. What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
Oh yes. Then I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Oh, I love him saying enchantment! Here we have Oathkeeper. What do we want? Lightning, flame, slow. Can we do... oh, that would be good. We have the electricity damage and we have the frost. Let's give him frost for now. Basically because it can slow down everyone as well. So yeah, accept. And the quest is completed. And now we also have a new one. Runes and enchantment. All enchantable items in the party inventory, including those currently equipped, can be upgraded by an enchanter, as long as you also have runes available. Select the item you wish to enchant, then drag and drop the desired runes into the slots on the items. Well, let's see what you have, Bodan.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings, perhaps? A cheese knife?
So, what's your story exactly, Bodan?
I suppose since you told me about you being a Grey Warden, it's only fitting for me to be as open. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Lost glory?
Our kingdoms once spanned the length of Thados, from majestic Orzammar to Kal Sharok to glittering Darmalin far to the west. They say the gold and silver veins ran so thick through the stone of Darmalin that the entire city sparkled. The Darkspawn took it all, of course. One by one, the old tigers fell, and then all that was left was Orzammar. But we were talking about how I ended up here, weren't we? One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
Yeah, noble dwarves tends to be quite particular in the taste. But you should also know that Bodan, he's a pretty fair merchant actually, and a pretty good one. So him stealing, nah, that's not usually it. What happened then?
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tigers. They're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure. Something worth a little gold.
So basically he has been scavenging, and yeah, well, who would know? I mean, you can't exactly just look at something and see that it belonged to a noble. I mean, that would, if it was made specifically for them, it's just something probably someone close family, like the sister, would probably know. Better do something with them than leave them to rot, I guess.
That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
You're quite lucky to have done so well.
I thank the stone every single day. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
Have you heard any rumors?
I heard from some travelers that something bad might have happened in Redcliffe, overrun by Darkspawn, maybe. There's no word from the village at all. A merchant friend of mine said he encountered someone fleeing the place and there was nothing waiting for him there but death. He wisely turned around and came right back. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
And basically, we are gonna head to Redcliffe the moment we can. But where do these goods come from? Not the deep roads.
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the lost tigers, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
Yeah. What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
No, it actually is not that bad, honestly, and in these days, if it's weapons... Well, hello. Sorry about that, my microphone sometimes is just, yeah. Hello. Hello. There we are. Sorry about that, sometimes my microphone seems to just be a bit lost sometimes. Well... I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
You didn't mention your son in the tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here. I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
Blood isn't all that important.
That's how I've always felt. As long as he's happy, so am I. It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
Okay, here I am. Sorry, it looks like my microphone is just bad. I really need to get a better pass, but have you heard any rumors? Let me see your wares, Bowden.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
So, let's see what he has. He has a few things. For example, he has this, the Vaishal. That is a pretty decent axe, one I cannot use, unfortunately. And we have the Sylvan's Mercy. A staff that is Viridium, like the one I have now, but it gives me 5 nature resistance, 1 spell power, and 10 nature resistance. It costs a bit too much though. Then we have the armors. And here we have all of the blood dragons. Thing is just, we can't use them yet, because you need so much strength. Then we have... what's this? Collective Enchanter's Arm. Oh my. Oh, this is good. Black Metal Talk. Oh, that one would be good to have too. There's a lot of things here that I would like to have. But can I? Probably not. At least not yet. Imperial Weavers. Yeah. Silver Hammer Tack Monsters. What is this? Gods, Dancing Shoes. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Spirit Hands. Restriction Mage. Restriction Rogue. Spirit Damage. Imperial Weavers. Mage. Is for anyone's. That too is for everyone. What about this? Oh, whoa. I can't even afford it. 5 in willpower, 8 in health regeneration while exploring, 30 spell resistance, 10 chance to dodge attacks, chance to... This is perfect for Alistair only. 30% spell resistance. Wow. Yeah, now we have Powerball and Willstone. Dalish Pendant, Dalish Hunter's Belt, Restrictions, Warrior Rogue, Dwarven Merchant Belt, Longbow Belt, Amber and Hailstone. Yeah, what about here then? I will sell him the Lesser Salve. And here we have something else. These are books for different kinds of characters. They will basically give you either a skill point, it will give you a well, an attribute point or something else, but this one is only for warriors and rogues. They have this one, a tome of Arcane Technique, a tome researched by Imperial Chantry, a Tevinter offshot with the Undrestron religion that no longer persecutes magic uses. The book grants insight into the fate, increasing the reader's knowledge of spells. Restriction Mage. And this gives me 1 point to spend on a talent or a spell. No, a talent or spell, but it's rendered useless afterwards. And then we have a lot of runes, and then we comes with this. This is basically gifts we can give. We have King Marriage Shield, we have a Quinari Praise of the Dead. We have a lot of these things basically, and then we have this sugar cake. Dressed in strawberries and sugar cream, icing, the simple pancake's perfect, pick me up at the end of a long day. And these are things you can give to your companions, and the cake goes actually to something. A lot of these though is just... Man... What? Manuals for Uncrushable pigeon. This pigeon coos happily, apparently can't fall in notice and no force could ever crush it. This must be for Arfspawn, but these ones I have never seen. Manuals for Ranger and a Templar. What on earth? Okay, that is new, but I am gonna buy the backpack first and foremost. Then, I'm gonna see here. Here we have Concentrator Agent and all that stuff. Yeah, this is... I was not prepared for this at all. Well, I know what I'm gonna buy later on when I can. As for the... the tome costs 22 gold. Honestly, that is way too much. I would love to have some more before I do anything else, but I can't. Let's sell... Honestly, it's too good to pass up sometimes. I don't even know if Bodan will get back his tomes. So yeah, we shall see. But I'm gonna wait a bit, that's not important right now. So, who are we gonna go to now? We are gonna go and talk to Alistair actually, so hang on a bit. And we will see some more with him. Do this, and hello Alistair.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Hang on a minute. What can Templars do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So, couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together.
I certainly can. This is one of the things that happens, what the Chantries do with the Templars. This is systematic drug use, in my eyes at least, because for a mage it's just like a drink. We don't really become addicted. From what I understand, a mage doesn't exactly become addicted to it, since he uses it for replenishing mana. But Templars aren't able to use any of their abilities without the lyrium. But once the lyrium stops, it just ends there. That's horrible! I can't believe they would do that!
Well, they do it, and they feel perfectly justified. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templar's talents more effective, or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Yeah, you can say that. And Alistair got really only 1+ in approval? Oh my god. Let's see, do you have anything else to say, Alistair?
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something else.
Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
There is a lot of things we really don't know about the Grey Wardens. The Ferelden ones have been cut off for a pretty long time. Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
Yeah, this is kind of a bummer. So what happens now that there is just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
Yeah, this is a fairly grim... it's a grim outside, actually, just to see. Will we need to start rebuilding the Order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna ask this, because we are not gonna leave. I have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something else.
Ask away.
So, how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Oh, ha ha ha. Very funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
You don't seem like the religious sort.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Yeah, that is exactly one of the consequences what happens when the Grey Wardens start conscripting. If you try to conscript the wrong person, you might just piss someone off. In this case, the Grand Cleric, as he says. Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
1+ an approval again. Come on, really? Well, the thing is, I don't really recall what kind of gifts he likes, unfortunately. Well, let's do some more talking.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
So you said Arl Eamon raised you?
Did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know.
So does a horde of Darkspawn, I'm told.
Point taken. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
He wasn't your father. So you know who is?
I know who I was told was my father. He died even before my mother did, anyhow. It isn't important. Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
And yeah, basically the war he's talking about is the war between Ferelden and Orlais, when Ferelden tried to break itself free from the Orlesian occupation. And since Arl Eamon married an Orlesian woman, yeah, well, you can kind of figure out what happened there. As for the reason for Alistair, well, honestly, that is unjustified behavior. You don't act like that towards a kid. You never blame a child for for his parents' actions, stuff like that. What an awful thing to do to a child. Exactly.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Now we got 4 approval and a codex about Alistair updated. And here we basically got Alistair was a novice Templar when Duncan recruited him into the Grey Wardens, or rescued him, as Alistair would say. His mother was a servant girl who died when Alistair was very young. He was raised by Eamon Gwerin. Please don't tell me how to explain it, because that's how I pronounce it. Arl of Redcliffe for a time. The Arl's wife, Isolde, suspected the reason her husband took an interest in the welfare of a servant child was that Alistair was Eamon's son. He insisted that the boy be sent away to the Chantry, which in it... Apologies, my stomach sometimes. Which is what happened in this case. And Alistair has 4 approval. Good. Now we will talk some... thing is just... Here's the thing. With the... with this, for example... Alistair could like this, but at the same time so could he not. It's just the way it is. Could be very well out of my league. But I won't give any any gifts yet until I know for certain. Let's speak some to Liliana.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Some of them only. Some are good, but yeah, some of them can be really condescending. Yes, they tend to be self-righteous.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
If he doesn't, what's the point of him being everyone's Maker in that case? I prefer your ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
And I gain 2. Wow, I must be asking the wrong question or something. Let's talk some more to Liliana.
Yes?
I like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Lothering Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
You know, a beautiful, charming woman like yourself.
And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
Oh my god. Oh, those initiates can't have been more lovely than you.
Flatterer. I, however, did not take vows, and so perhaps I am not as enigmatic? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Oh? Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
And what did you do before that?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
And I gained 6 approval, thank you. Codex updated. A lay sister of the Chantry who can beat the stuffing out of trained mercenaries would be notable enough, but one who also claims to have been sent to fight the Darkspawn by the Maker herself is unusual to say the least. She joined Alistair and Nils in the Lothering, insisting that she would prove useful. There's more to Liliana than had even been apparent in Lothering, however. She spent much of her life as a bard in Orlais, a minstrel, assassin, and spy employed by the nobles of Valrayo in their elaborate games of intrigue. And that is pretty much what a bard is. He's a spy, he's a singer, a minstrel, a storyteller, a lot of different things, but that's it basically. And let's see, can we speak to her some more maybe?
Yes? Something you need?
It looks like it. I'd like to talk to you about something.
Yes? What's on your mind?
Why did you decide to come to Ferelden?
My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it.
Was she not happy in Orlais?
She wasn't unhappy. We had a good life, and she liked Orlais well enough. I loved it, though. Valrayo was so vibrant, colorful. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother.
What was Cecile like?
She was an elderly lady, very refined and proper. She had impeccable manners and taste, more so than a lot of Orlesian ladies. Cecily was also kind. My mother was unmarried and with child. It was scandalous, and Cecily had every right to turn my mother out. She didn't. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dry flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on.
Basically we gained nothing, but now we have an idea for a certain gift for Liliana eventually when we come upon that. And so now let's continue to explore. I don't think there's anything else. When we progress in the game we will find some people here eventually. But we shall see about that. We have nothing up here. No. I don't even think I explored the camp up here eventually when I was done. So yeah, sometimes things are weird. We are gonna go and chat a bit with Morrigan for now. As I told you before, there will be a lot of chatting in this episode, but that might just be good as well. So, let's do some chatting with Morrigan.
Yes?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Yeah, she's not very keen on talking, but yeah, sometimes. How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother has been doing this for a long time then. But it's just a legend, right?
So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Can anyone... that's pretty much a stupid question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
Yeah, she's really cold right now. Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Fair answer. Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
Honestly, that sounds pretty amazing. And what do other animals think of you when you've changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Huh. I've never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
That's good. Thus traditions needs to be preserved.
I'm shocked that you think so. Being a mage of the circle as you were. But perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower.
Yes, very much so.
I thought so.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
Maybe tied to a flagpole and tickled.
I wouldn't advise it. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
And oh! Okay, I was not expecting to get 5 approval with Morrigan, actually. That was surprising. Oh well, let's see. Can we talk some more to her?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
You are very cute to ask so many questions.
Oh, I know. And you are cute when you're evasive.
Really? Perhaps we should be wrapped in ribbons and adorned with flowers. So cute are we, too. My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes, by Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were.
Ouch.
Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
I feel sorry for the Templars.
They came with as much swagger and arrogance as they did self-righteousness. Pity them if you wish, for they held none for us. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Flemeth used you as bait?
'Twas a game, and I a young girl. If I didn't get to play, I would have been very upset. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Okay, that's a weird way to play, but it's also a good way to actually teach and learn. Apologies for my voice. What exactly is an apostate? Well, I've heard the term before, but yeah.
You do not know? The Zealots use that word for any magic they do not control. The Chantry sees any mages not leashed to the Circle of Magi as apostates. And apostates could become maleficarum, evil mages that resort to blood magic and become demon-enslaved abominations. It may even be true. Still, those of us who prefer freedom see no reason to submit.
Yeah, I can understand that. I agree completely.
An interesting answer for a mage. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand.
And I got one approval. Yeah, Morrigan is hard to get to get approval with, but we shall talk some more with her.
Yes?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
A nutty old bat.
Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
How long ago is this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Flemeth must have been he sold his wife to another man?
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement.
What?
All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So she truly loved Ossen then.
That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged
Okay.
the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Wait, she never invaded. He never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Hang on a minute, I'll be right back. And I'm back, everyone. Sorry about that. The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters? I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Sorry, I had to catch my breath a bit. Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
An interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
I love her. What else do you want to know?
Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on.
And we gain... Oh my, thank you. 6 in approval. Nice. Do we dare to talk more with... no, I don't think I do. Let's check characters just quick. Alistair, we have 18 in approval. We are neutral. Liliana, 14 in approval. Still neutral. Arfspawn. We are just very, very friendly with him. Sten, we are not... We are neutral, pretty much. Morrigan is 21 in approval. But then why is Alistair neutral? I have no idea. Well, that's the way it is. I want to talk some more with Morrigan actually, but let's try.
Yes?
I'd like to ask you something
If you
again.
must.
I'm not gonna ask that yet, cause when I've done this, it had bugged, and if I don't have enough, enough approval with her, she may just say no, and then I'm locked out of it. So no, I'm gonna do this.
Yes?
So life in the wilds must have been lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
That sounds wonderful.
For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
Yeah, I can't imagine Flemeth was pleased.
She was not. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
They made you stronger, didn't they?
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
And oh my. And now, this is what happens when you get high enough approval, basically. You get a skill, basically, that is plot for them. And this can be improved. And in this case, with the Morrigan, we gain minor magic, the passive. Inspired by your leadership, this party member has gained a minor bonus to magic, which is pretty awesome, actually. Then we have a codex updated, which we learn more about her. And here we have her mother claims to be mothers. If it's true, the Morrigan might as well be a very powerful witch. The tales of the daughters of Flemeth tell of twisted, monstrous women who can kill a man with fear. It was made to accompany the surviving Grey Wardens. The payment, Flemeth said, for saving the lives of the tower at the Tower of Ishal. Morrigan's critical eye is not reserved solely for others. Knowing or not, she has simple fondness for jewelry and is very particular about her appearance. So now we know that she likes jewelry, among other things. As for Alistair, we don't really know yet what he likes, but check the character for a bit. And let's head to Morrigan. She is interested. This is here's where we start to get into the more soon we will end up basically more into the romantic versions of certain things. Now we will try Sten again. He won't, if I fail upon getting some, he is hard to basically get approval with, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
What was the question?
The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here.
What is an Arishok?
The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Kunari.
Right. So he's your king?
Kunari have no kings.
What do you have then?
Little patience for endless questions.
Fine, I get it. Why would the Kunari care about the Blight?
Why do you?
I'm a Grey Warden. It's my job.
Exactly. You don't ask, nor do I. The Arishok sends me and I go.
Okay. Did you find the answer to his question?
A portion of it.
What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed?
Oh yes, I was.
That is your answer.
Fine, let's drop this one now.
Parshera, was there anything else?
I want to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak then.
That's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
Let's go.
As you wish.
I gain 1 approval? Okay, that surprised me. I was not expecting to get that at all. We are gonna do some... you know what, that was everyone, but I want to chat with Alistair one more time.
What do you need?
And I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate... Remain a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Really? I thought Templars wore heavy plate mostly.
That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight.
You had lots of these pillow fights, I take it.
Pillow fights? I mean, no, of course not. I meant sword fights. With rusty swords, dripping with acid. The kind that puts hair on your chest. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I really do want to know. Yes.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Arl Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
I mean, this would be my home, but Ferelden, honestly, but the Circle of Mage Tower was my home for a long time.
But it's not your home anymore, right? You can never go back for good. I think I understand how you feel. We won't always be traveling like this, you know? Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good, either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
I got one approval. Come on, really, Alistair? Sometimes you
What
are
do you need?
really tough to talk to. I'd like to ask you something again.
Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
I got no more
About
questions.
the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
Never mind. Yeah, Alistair, you are no fun to talk to. Let's see. Liliana, do you have anything else?
Yes? Something you need?
I'd like to talk to you about something, again.
Yes? What's on your mind?
Do you miss anything about Olay?
I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent.
It sounds wonderful.
Oh, it would take me a day or two to talk about the many splendors of Orlais, her golden fields, her lush meadows. Of course there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais.
What sort of things?
Dresses, fine dresses and furs. And shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable. Almost ridiculously so. But the shoes. Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes.
Why is it always the shoes that some women prefers to be that they must have several pairs of? What's so special about shoes?
Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring.
Honestly, she lost me there, but... Oh, that sounds lovely.
I had my eye on a pair my shoemaker was working on. It was covered in pale blue silk, with amber beads on the toe. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them.
Very comfortable.
They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we?
Really? Okay, fine. We'll leave it at that. And honestly, everyone, that is all I have to do for today. We will continue on traveling next time. And, well, let me get back up. And we have... I know we chatted a lot with... We chatted a lot with our companions, but sometimes you really need to take your time and do it, and eventually we'll end up with a lot more companions. For now, these are the first ones we'll have. We'll unlock many more, or several more when time comes. Oh, apologies. And we will meet them then. But it's good to just take your time and relax and meet everyone eventually. So this is what we have done for today. I see that I have very little mana in reserve. So I'm gonna do this, this and this. I don't need this right now. And yeah, this will be everything for today, and I'll see you next time. And next time I will take us to Redcliffe, and then eventually we'll start with after Redcliffe we'll head to... What we need to head to is basically the let's see, so I say it right, the Circle of Magi, and help them there. And after that we shall do some DLCs, but that's a plan for now. I will plan a bit more after that. But as usual, everyone, thank you or Maseranas for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please think about leaving a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. If you have any questions about the game... Oh, be quiet, Arfspawn! If you have any questions about the game, just leave that down in the comment section down below. If you didn't like the video, you're just free to dislike the video, to leave a dislike, or just comment in the comment section on what you didn't like. And until then, everyone, please remember to take care of yourself in these times, and as always, remember to extinguish your fire in your fireplaces, blow out your candles, and turn off your stoves before you leave your home, before you go to bed. This is Northern Firefighter signing off. Nareth Shirol.